Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elle and today I'm going to be filming my intro for this reading vlog. I'm really excited for this vlog. I have not vlogged in so long. I feel like pressure and a lot of commitment to vlogging, so it can be hard for me, but I really wanted to do this vlog because there are so many amazing new releases coming out in October, and I wanted to highlight 4 releases that I'm really excited to read, that I'm just dying for, and I really wanted to chat more in depth about. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Shadows of You by Catherine Cowles. So I got a ARC of this one, which I am so excited for. And I want to thank Catherine and her team for sending me this. I have just been loving this new series by her. I think it's one of her best series. I think I do like, what is it called? Tattered and Torn series more than this one, just because some of those are like my favorite characters, but this is like equal, or yeah, it's definitely equal to this series, to that series for me. But I just have been loving this one, and I am so excited for Shadows of You because this is Roan, and I can't remember the heroine's name. This is their book, and Roan has just been kind of this like black sheep of the family, very closed off, and he is just a very stoic person, and the heroine is a single mom, and she's dealing with a lot, and like her past is very mysterious. So I'm really excited for this one. I don't know much about like the synopsis. I just know who like the characters are, and I am very excited for this one. I've heard amazing things. I love this cover, and I'm just really excited to read this one. Then the next book I want to read for this vlog is Don't Forget Me Tomorrow by A.L. Jackson. This just released a couple of days ago, and I picked up the audio for this one. I listened to the audio of the first book and really liked it. This one is a brother's little sister romance, or no, it is best friend's little sister romance, or like brother's best friend romance. I kind of did it backwards. I don't know why I did that, but I've like seen that she's also a single mom, and it's forbidden, very angsty, some suspense. It sounds really good. I've heard it's really spicy, so I'm excited for that. And I really liked the first book, so I'm excited to read this one as well. And then I have Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. I'm so excited for this one. This is a single dad nanny romance, and so we saw kind of a preview of who the hero was going to be in this book, and he is a baseball player, and he has a son, and he is looking for a nanny, and I think he falls for his nanny, and so I'm really excited for this one. The cover is gorgeous. I love all of the golden hues, and I love the books in this series, the past 2 books. So I'm really excited for this new release by Liz Tomforde. The last book is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is, I think, the 5th book in this series, in the Chestnut Spring series. I am really excited for this one. This is Bae's story, and I think it is Fake Fiance, Forced Proximity, and Bae's kind of been like a very mysterious character throughout this whole series, so I'm really excited for his story. And I think he's also like ex-military, or he was in the military. It says Age Gap, Fake Fiance, Tortured Hero, He Falls First, Forced Proximity. So I'm really excited for this one. I love Elsie Silver, and I'm definitely going to pick up the audio, and then I think I'm going to read Caught Up and Shadows of You on my Kindle, because I don't have physical copies of those ones yet. But I'm really excited for this vlog, and I will update you when I've read. I think I'm going to first start off with Shadows of You, and then Don't Forget Me Tomorrow, because the other 2 haven't released yet. So I will give you an update soon. Hey guys, so I wanted to give an update about Don't Forget Me Tomorrow by A.L. Jackson. I am I think the audiobook is like 11 hours, so math, about 4 hours into the audiobook, and I'm really liking it. So this one, I think I listed off some of like the tropes in this one, but this is a small town romance. This is the 2nd book in this series by A.L. Jackson. And in this one, the heroine is a single mom, and she has a little boy who's 2 years old, and she works at this like local like restaurant, and her older brother is really close with the hero. And I think her older brother and the hero are both like sheriffs in the town. So something happens where her door was like unlocked in her house, and she gets really freaked out, and so she calls over Ryder, who is the hero, and he's like, you need to come stay at my house till we figure this out. And so that's what she does. And so now it's like forced proximity. And so I'm at the part right now where she's staying with him, and he got kind of a bit possessive over her because her best friend from the first book, that was the heroine from the first book, is kind of trying to set her up on a date. And he's like, you are not going to date anybody while you're living under my roof. And I am just really liking it so far. I really like the audiobook, and I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. I really love how like relationships when the hero like has always looked out for the heroine, and he has like a cute pet name for her, and so I'm just really liking it. And I'm going to start Shadows of You tonight, hopefully. I'm going to try to finish up Keeping 13, which I'm almost done with. But yeah, that's my update, and I will update you when I read some more. Hey guys, so I have some major updates. I went away for the weekend to go visit my parents, but now I'm back and rejuvenated, and I have some major updates. So I finished Don't Forget Me Tomorrow, and I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It was not my favorite, so I'll kind of like explain more about the book. I don't really know. I think I was just starting the book when I was talking to you last. So Don't Forget Me Tomorrow is a brother's best friend romance, and kind of second chance. So the heroine is a single mom, and she's living in this small town with her son, and something really creepy happens. And I think the hero, I don't even remember, I think he's like a sheriff, and so he's like, well, you can stay with me and I'll keep you safe. And so her and her son she decides to stay with him, and that's when their romance starts developing. And I just felt it was pretty boring, the plot. I just felt like it was very like menial tasks. Like they would just hang out at the house, and then there'd be like a spicy scene of them together. And I didn't really love his nickname for her. It just kind of made me cringe. It was like Cookie. And I don't know, I just didn't love it as much as the first book. I just felt like they were just at their house and just going along with the book, and I would just find myself being kind of bored throughout the audiobook. The one thing that was kind of exciting was the end, this like plot twist, which I really liked. But otherwise, it wasn't too exciting or made me really just like, oh my gosh, like I'm really enjoying this. It was just okay. So that's why I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I feel kind of disappointed because I was really excited for this book. The cover is gorgeous. I just was really excited for this book, and it just wasn't my favorite. So 3 stars, which is disappointing. But I started Hopeless and Shadows of You, and I am absolutely loving both. So let me look for Hopeless. I think I'm about, how much do I have left? So maybe like almost halfway through the audiobook. Sorry, I have to like itch my eye. And I'm really loving this one. So Hopeless, this is the 4th and final book of the Chestnut Spring series, and I'm so sad for this series to end because I absolutely adore this series. I've loved every single book so far out of this series. Each of the books have just been so unique and so amazing. This is actually the 5th book, I think, because there's Flawless, Heartless, Powerless, Reckless, and then Hopeless. Okay, yeah, this is the 5th book. So we've been kind of waiting for Bay and his story, and he's very mysterious, and he's dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress. No, I don't think it's ever mentioned if he has like PTSD, but he just is dealing with a lot of trauma from being in the military, and he doesn't really know where his place in life is anymore. He just feels like he doesn't have a purpose anymore. Like he felt like a real purpose in the military, but now he's back in his town and things are just really different. And so every night he keeps going to the same bar and hanging with the bartender, who is Bailey, who's our heroine, and she is kind of like, not like the black sheep of the town, but her family is. Like, her brothers are notorious for being up to no good and nobody's really accepted her, and so they start kind of having to have a bond with each other, and then they decide to go into a fake fiance like relationship, and it is so good so far. Like, she has to stay with him, and it's small town, and so like his family is totally shocked that he's like in a relationship now, and it's just really good so far. I really like Bae, and I love how we're really getting to see all of the aspects of their relationship develop, and it's so cute. And he calls her like sugar tits, and I think it's so funny. I'm just like giggling and laughing while listening to this audio. I'm just finding it so fun, and I'm really liking it. And there's definitely some tension, definitely some chemistry between the two of them, and I am just like loving it so much. And he's very protective over her. Like, there was a scene where they were going into this store, and Bailey didn't want to see this girl from her high school that was really mean to her, and he's like, no, we're gonna go in there and show her like you cannot be messed with. And so he like puts her like hand on his like belt buckle and is like showing off her diamond ring, and the girl's getting all frazzled, and it's just so funny. But I'm just like loving this one. It is so fun, definitely on the track to being a 5-star read. And then with Shadows of You, I'm reading that on my Kindle, and I'm really loving that one as well. I've always been intrigued by both of these characters because Aspen has always been very mysterious. We don't really know a lot about her past and don't really know why she is in the small town of the like Lost and Found series. And Roan has just always been also very mysterious. He is a recluse. He doesn't really like people. And so I just loved how they met for the first time. And Aspen, this is a single mom, small town romance. And Aspen, I just love that she loves to like take in animals that are injured. And so how they meet is that she finds this deer that's injured on her property, and she calls Wildlife and Rescue, or I don't remember what it is, Wildlife and something. It's like something to do with wildlife. And Roan comes to the call and sees her, and of course he's very grumpy at first, and they kind of don't get off on the right foot, but she's very intrigued by Roan, and she's also friends with the Hartley family, which Roan is a part of. And she sees him at the family dinner and is like, hi, and her daughter sees him, and it's just really cute. I just think Roan is just so cute, and I just like love how he's starting to realize like, oh, I might be attracted to this woman. And it's just really good so far. I'm only about 20% in, and there's definitely some mystery brewing and suspense of Aspen's past, and I don't want to do like spoilers, but it's very interesting, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, and I'm just really liking it so far. So I'm only like 20% into those two, and I did a big order of some books off of Amazon. I don't even remember what I bought. I know I bought a lot of new releases. Let me see what they are. So I got Madame by Sarah Kate, which I'm really excited for. I'm really excited for this book. I don't even remember what the plot is, but I just remember the heroine being a really important part of this whole series. So I'm very excited for this one. And I think it is the final book in this series, the 6th book. And then of course I had to get a copy of Hopeless. I am in love with this People cover. It is just, I think, my favorite cover of the whole series. And I had to get a copy of Caught Up by List on Form, which I'll also be reading in this vlog. I don't know if I'm going to read it physically or read it on my Kindle. And then I also have, I'm getting a copy of Shadows of You by Catherine Cowles. and then a copy of King of Greed. I pre-ordered that one, which is, I'm so excited for this one. It is a marriage and trouble romance. Very excited for this one. And then I got An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reid because I really wanted a physical copy of this book, and it's definitely one of my fave historical romances that I've read in a while. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying all of the fall weather. Today though, I was very cold walking around like in downtown, and I was just like kind of dying. And you know when your nose gets like starts burning when you're in the cold, that's how it felt today. And I was like, oh, that's not fun. But I am definitely planning to read the Catherine Cowles book, hopefully finish it in the next 2 days, because I do have to review that because I did get an ARC of that one. So hopefully I can finish that in the next couple of days. But I'm going to continue listening to the audio of Hopeless, reading Shadows of You, and then starting Caught Up soon. I feel like this vlog is going by really fast. I felt like the first book was very slow, and now these next 2 books I'm like flying through. But I will update you guys soon. Hey guys, so I have an update. I have about 2 hours left of Hopeless, and I think it's on the track to being a 3-star read or 3.5-star read, which is just so disappointing for me to say. I have been so excited for this book, but it just feels very boring. Like, so I think I told you guys earlier that this is like a fake fiance romance, a small town romance. Bae was in the military, now he's back and he's dealing with a lot of trauma from being in the military. But it just feels like there aren't a lot of stakes for why they're in this fake fiance relationship, and I don't know, it just feels kind of weird, and it's not my favorite. Not a lot is like happening in the book. I like the beginning when I was first talking to you guys earlier. I really liked when they first started meeting because I thought that was hilarious. Like they meet at the bar, and then she sees him at like the river where both of their properties are, and that was fun. But I don't know, it feels like there's something missing from this book. So I have about 2 hours left. Hopefully I'll finish it today or tomorrow. It's Wednesday right now, but it's just like not my favorite, which is really sad because I was so excited for this book. And I just feel kind of sad, and I'm at like the 3rd act breakup part, and just feels like they're kind of throwing in a 3rd act breakup just kind of randomly. It doesn't really make sense, and I don't know, I just am not loving it, which is really sad to say. But I am loving Shadows of You. I'm finding it's so good right now. I'm at a part where Aspen, because of her past, things happened, and these guys are coming to look for her, and Roan basically like scared them off and protected her, and I just love it so much. Like Roan is so protective over her. And like another instance where her car needs a lot of like work done on it, and she can't afford all of this work for her car. And so Roan secretly goes into the like auto place and is like, I will pay for her car to be fixed. But like to the guy, it's like, can you lie to her? Kind of in good spirit lying, and say like, I'm gonna give you a deal. And he basically pays for her car to get fixed. And I am just so loving this right now. I'm about 26% in, and I'm gonna hopefully finish it today or tomorrow. But I am just so excited to see where this romance is gonna go. I'm really liking it. I love both of the characters. I'm having a relaxing Wednesday. I just took a shower. I also got my hair highlighted when I was visiting my parents, and I just love my hair girl. She knows how to do a beautiful blonde, and I'm just relaxing. But yeah, I'm really sad about Hopeless, and I was seeing some reviews of people not loving it, and then it just made me sad. But all of the other books in the series I've given 5 stars. I think my favorite, I don't know what my favorite, I really loved Flawless, which I feel like a lot of people love Heartless the most, but I remember really, really loving Flawless. Also really love Powerless. I just love all the books in the series, just not Hopeless, which is just so sad to say, but I will update you guys soon. I think I'm going to get my copy of Caught Up soon. I don't know if I'm going to read that physically or maybe on my Kindle, but yeah, I will update you guys when I have some updates. Hey guys, I have some updates. It is Thursday. Last night I finished 2 books. I finished Shadows of You and then Hopeless, but I wanted to first talk about Shadows of You first. I got my physical copies of both of these books in the mail today. So Shadows of You, I just love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I just thought it was absolutely adorable. I loved Roan and his relationship with both Aspen and Katie. And so I don't even remember where I last left off with this book. So like the synopsis of this book is that Aspen, our heroine, she has a very scary past and she is kind of running away from her past, but she's finally found peace in Cedar Ridge with her daughter, and everything that she's had to go through is just to keep her daughter safe. And she meets Roan when a deer shows up on our property that's injured, and Roan works for, I think it's like wildlife, Fish and Wildlife. And Roan is very grumpy. He's kind of a recluse of the town, and I love those types of characters. And he definitely is very grumpy when he first meets Aspen. He's like, why do you care about this deer? Like, and she, I think I mentioned before, she takes in animals that need a home, they need to be rehabilitated, and so she ends up taking the deer in, and that kind of starts their like their first meeting. And she also works at this local coffee shop called The Brew, and she just keeps running into Roan randomly at like the Hartley family dinners, and she's very intrigued by Roan. She feels a connection towards him because she kind of feels like a recluse herself because of her past. She doesn't feel like she's been very honest with all of the friends that she's made in Cedar Ridge, but that's to protect herself. And Roan, just, I like loved him so much, and they finally start having a relationship, and he is very protective over Aspen and Katie, and I loved his relationship with Katie, her daughter. And like an example was that he let her paint like pink glittery nail polish on his hands, and he stood up for her like in front of her childhood like bullies, like and he's just so cute and so protective over both of them. And of course there is some suspense in this one with Aspen's past, and somebody's threatening her. And I really like the twist in this one. I was not expecting who was threatening her for that, like for it to be that person, so I really liked it. I just love this book. Catherine Cowles does like cozy small town romances with a sprinkle of suspense so well, and I really love this one. If you want a delightful single mom, forced proximity, broody hero, small town romance, I recommend this one. It was amazing. Then let's move on to Hopeless. So I think my official rating is gonna be 3 stars, which is really sad to say and disappointing. I think I just had really high hopes for this book, and I was just disappointed. The whole premise of this book, I think I talked about it before, is that Bay just got out of the military, and a lot of things happened during his time being in the military that was very traumatic. And so I thought this book was gonna kind of be about that, but it really wasn't. It was really about Bailey's trauma, which is a heroine, and she has kind of been like ousted in the town because of her brothers who are very rambunctious and kind of crazy, and she's kind of looked down upon because of them. And so she meets Beau in a bar that she works at, and he starts hanging out every night there, and they kind of strike up this deal to be in a fake engagement because he kind of wants to, I don't even really remember why they were in a fake engagement. I think like he wants to like get his family off his back, and she wants to get away from her brothers, I think. But I just felt like the stakes behind why they were in a fake engagement didn't really make sense. I did not like the part where Bae admitted to driving home drunk at night after having way too many drinks. Like, that's not safe, and I didn't love that. And she is also a virgin. She's 22 years old, so this is an age gap. He's 35, and she just talked about like sex so much, which is fine, but it like got to the point that it's kind of weird, and he really like sexualized her, I feel like, because she was a virgin, and it just felt kind of weird. And I didn't like the ending, the third act breakup. I thought that Bailey really overreacted, and it just wasn't my favorite. I don't know, it just felt like something was missing from this story, which is really sad to say because I was so excited for this story, and I wish that she would have added more stuff about him working through his trauma and kind of it being more about him than her. And it also kind of seemed like the instant he started being with Bailey, like his trauma started going away, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. Like, I don't know, it just was not my favorite, which is really sad to say, but I do love this cover, and I still am glad that I have the paperback so I can have my finished collection. But I think if you like this series, maybe don't go, if you want to still read this, don't go in it with high expectations. I don't know. Read it at your own risk. It just wasn't for me. I didn't love this one. And I have Caught Up, which I'm going to start, I think, tonight. But I have to do a couple of other things. But I'm really excited for this one. It is a single dad baseball romance, nanny romance, and I've heard really great things from early reviews. So this will be the last book of this vlog, but I feel like I have had 2 3 stars and 1 5-star, so hopefully I'll really enjoy this one, which I think I will. And yeah, so those are my plans, and I will update you guys soon. Hey guys, I have lots of updates. I was sick for about a week with a horrendous cold. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. I was dying, and it first started off as like a sore throat, and then it just progressively got worse. It was not fun, but I'm a lot better, and I took a week off from vlogging, but I finished all of the books, and I want to do kind of a recap of this vlog and to wrap up this vlog. So the first book I finished was Don't Forget Me Tomorrow by A.L. Jackson. I gave this book 3 stars. I did not love this one. It just felt kind of meh and just kind of bland, not a lot of plot going on. So I've described this book, this is a brother's best friend romance, forced proximity. The heroine has to stay with the hero because of some threats that are going on in this small town, and she has a young son, and they start a relationship. But I just felt like they just stayed at his house a lot, and it was just kind of boring. But I did like the twist at the end, like the suspense was really fun. I really enjoyed that part, but otherwise this was not my favorite, which was really sad to say. And I just kind of got like cringe when he would call her Cookie. I don't know, it just, I was listening to the audiobook and I just didn't love it. It just wasn't for me. But then I read Shadows of You, and I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. This book is adorable. It is so, so good. I think this is the 4th book in the Lost and Found series, if I'm not mistaken. And I just love this book. I love Roan's character. He's very grumpy and kind of a recluse, and he's that way because he was accused of murdering someone in the past, and so he's kind of always been like the recluse of the town. People are kind of off-put by him, find him kind of weird, kind of mysterious. And so the heroine Aspen, she has a daughter, and she also has a mysterious past, and she finally settled in this town a couple of years ago, and she finally feels safe. And she and Roan have this really cute meet cute where she is helping, she has a lot of helps like rehabilitate animals, and one of them was a deer that was on her property and that sustained an injury, and he is, I think he's like wildlife, fish and wildlife, and he came and visited her, and that was like their meet cute, or their meeting, and he was just so grumpy and is like, why are you taking care of this animal? And she's like, well, it's what I do. And I just love this book. I love the suspense in this one. I loved Roan and Katie's relationship, which is her daughter, and it was just so fun, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. Then the next book I read was Hopeless. I listened to this one on audio, and I'm giving this one 3 stars. I was just very disappointed by this book, and I think I had really high expectations because this was the closing of this series, and I just was really excited for this book and for Bae's story, but I felt like this story really focused on Bailey's trauma versus Bae's, which I really, and I feel like the author really geared this up to be about Bae's trauma because he was in the military and he was missing for a couple of weeks while in deployment, and that was very traumatic for him and traumatic for his family members. And so I thought that we would really dive into his trauma and his healing, but it's really about Bailey and her family situation. So this is a fake fiance like setup kind of thing. So Bae is back in town from being deployed, and he basically is going every night to the bar that Bailey works at to chase away his feelings and what he's feeling because it's just too much for him, and he just gets basically drunk with her every night at this bar, and they strike up this deal to have like a fake fiance arrangement so he can kind of get his family off his back and she can be deemed as somebody acceptable by somebody like Bae, who is known as like the town royalty. And then it goes from there. And there's also an age gap, a pretty big age gap, I think like 10+ years, and the heroine is a virgin, and I just felt like that was played too much on her being a virgin. I don't know, it just felt kind of weird at times, like he would really sexualize her because of her virginity, I feel like, and that kind of off-put me, but I did kind of still enjoy the story. I love seeing the other characters, and I'm sad that the series ended on not a great note as I would have wanted it to, but that's okay. I'm really excited for her new series that's kind of in the same realm and world that I'm very excited about. This was just not my favorite, but this series, otherwise, I absolutely adore this series. Some of my favorite books are in this series, just this one I did not love as much. And then the last book that I read for this vlog was Caught Up by Liz Tomforde. This book was so freaking good. I loved it. I finished it a couple of nights ago and it was absolutely incredible. So this is a baseball single dad nanny romance. So our heroine is a famous pastry chef and she's kind of going through a dry spell with her recipe. She just won this huge award and she's kind of feeling imposter syndrome and just not feeling like she's good enough to have this award, and she kind of wants to take the summer off before she has this big interview in the fall. And so her dad is the manager for the the Chicago baseball team, like National League, and he's like, well, why don't you come stay with me in Chicago for the summer and you could nanny for one of my players. Like, he needs somebody to nanny. This would be a great situation for both of you. And the hero, he is a baseball player on the team and he has I think a year-old son. I think he's a year old. And so he just has driven off every other nanny that he's had. And so when he meets Miller for the first time, she is kind of like her own person. Like, she doesn't really care what people say, say about her, and he just thinks she's too much for him right now. And so he agrees to, because he has no other option for her to be his child's nanny, and their friendship they kind of form a friendship and a romance, and it's really good. I loved this book. There were so many just cute moments, and the spicy scenes in this one were top notch. Like, she calls him Baseball Daddy, and I think that is so cute and funny. And I just love how Liz Tomforde really makes these special moments in her books where you would only find that in her book. And I just really love this one. I thought it was really, really cute. I loved the romance. I loved her relationship with his son. Even though his son was very young, they just like had this really beautiful connection. And I just love this one. It was so, so good. I love Liz Tomforde, and I'm so excited for the next book in the series. But that is the end of this vlog. I read some really good books and some not so great books, but I'm really excited I did this vlog, and I recommend definitely caught up Shadows of You. I think those are 2 new releases that I just absolutely adored. The other 2 were not my favorite. If you have read the whole series by Elsie Silver, I mean, I would still recommend reading it. I don't know. That's kind of up to you, but personally, I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. But that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts about all of these new releases. And definitely down below, let me know what you've been reading recently, new releases wise. I would love to know, and if you've read any of these and love them. But I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.